In my last video, we checked out two brand new assault weapons coming to Battlefield 1 with the Russian DLC, In the Name of the Tsar. If you missed that video, it'll be linked in the description, or you can click the little I in the top right hand corner of this video. But today, we're going to be focusing on the new sniper rifles coming to the DLC. We have two of them, and they fill very different roles and will likely be preferred by some and not others. We have, of course, the Russian Mosin Nagant M91 bolt-action rifle and the Vetterli Rifle, an Italian weapon. Let's start with that one because it seems to be causing some chatter amongst the community at the moment. The Vetterli Rifle was the standard issue rifle of the Italian army before World War I. It was then replaced by the Carcano. Originally, it shot a single round and it could only hold one round at any one time, so think of the Martini Henry for example. These models were then converted to allow a 4-round internal magazine, and then those models, or many of them, were then converted to a 6-round internal magazine, and they were rebarreled so they could use a different caliber of bullet. Now the original single shot and the 4-round models, they featured the 10.4 by 47mm round, and it was very hard hitting, whereas the 6-round magazine, that used the 6.5 by 52mm round found in the Carcano rifle. These 4 and 6-round magazine conversions, they were used alongside the Carcano rifle during World War I. The demand was outstripping the supply for weapons on the front lines. Now DICE has decided to add the 4-round magazine conversion model into Battlefield 1, and that gives us something very different than what we've seen so far, and we have two variants of it. We have the infantry and the carbine. Now the heavy 10.4 by 47mm round is very similar to the round found in the Martini Henry, and I'll explain. The Vetterli shares a lot with the Martini in the way it's balanced. Now both the infantry and the carbine variants of the Vetterli are very similar in the way they operate, with the infantry having just iron sights and being slightly faster to aim down the sight, and the carbine featuring optical sights similar to the SMLE rifle. Both of the variants do suffer from a very slow rechambering animation, however. DICE, I think, has balanced the rifle's close-range power by forcing you to play a little bit more cautiously in between the shots you fire. Either that, or you'll need to rely on your sidearm for backup and follow-up shots. Reloading is also fairly long, considering you're only able to fire 4 shots before that animation kicks in. Now the iron sights on the infantry variant are nice and clear, though using it over the carbine variant you're not giving up too much in the way of a clear view, but of course the optical sights on the carbine, they will help you be more accurate. The carbine does offer better hipfire accuracy over the infantry variant as well. This is a rifle that fills a gap for the Italian forces in the game, as they now have a rifle that can be applied directly to them, but I think a lot of people were actually expecting the standard issue rifle of World War I for the Italian army, the Carcano rifle. One more note on the Vetterli here, however. I want to talk about its sweet spot mechanic, because I think it's kind of odd for this rifle, and I don't think it's very consistent, and the stats that I'm about to show you are 100% not final, and I've got evidence to prove that they may be incorrect. Now the damage graph doesn't show that it can hit 100 max damage like the other rifles can. It does extend up to what looks like about 90 at a maximum, but that's at very close range. It's similar to the Martini Henry, offering higher damage at close range with an older, non-Spitzer round. Just so you know, a Spitzer round are the ones with points on the end. The Vetterli and the Martini Henry, they used rounds that were invented before the Spitzer ended up taking over. That highlights and gives reason for its close range power, but with a maximum of 90 damage, you still need to follow up with a pistol. However, in the game so far, I've been landing 100 damage shots on players at close range, so I think this will have a maximum of 100 damage, but the stats don't reflect that at the moment. Moving on now to the other new rifle, the Mosin Nagant M91, I think this is what most people were looking forward to when it came to sniper rifles in this DLC. The M91 represents the first major iteration of the rifle being accepted into the Russian army as their standard issue. It features a 5-round internal magazine, a fairly slow rate of fire, and in Battlefield 1 it comes in 2 variants, the Infantry and the Marksman. The Marksman variant is the one I think you'll benefit from using most of all, although I'm not sure it really does enough to stand out from the other rifles that are already in the game. It's beaten by the SMLE and the Lebel on ammo capacity, although you could argue that with only 5 rounds in its internal magazine, you can reload it faster from it being empty, and it features a similar sweet spot range to the Lebel as well. In fact, it fits almost smack bang in the middle between the SMLE and the Lebel. You're only losing out on rate of fire, which is the slowest of all 3, and it's tied to be the slowest for all of the bolt-action rifles with the Gewehr 98. The Infantry variant does have quicker aiming down sight time than the Marksman, but the sweet spot range being out at 60 meters or so, and then extending to about 100, you're going to need to be pretty accurate if you want to land some one-hit kills with the Infantry version. Of those 2 rifles then, it seems you've got some very specific ranges that they're going to work best in. With the Mosin Nagant, you've got a lot of competition with other rifles, and with the Vetterli Rifle, well, it doesn't quite seem like it's finished yet. I'm actually more excited to use the Vetterli Rifle than I am the Mosin Nagant, due to its slightly odd balancing model. It's kind of like a Martini Henry with 4 bullets, and the stats say it's going to do less damage, but I think it's going to do probably 100 damage maximum by the time this DLC comes out. I don't have any stats on bullet velocity for these rifles, but for the Vetterli using an old round, a non-Spitzer, I assume the velocity will be slower like the Martini Henry. We're going to have to wait and see. Well, now you know all about these 2 rifles, how is it that you're going to be able to unlock them? Well, DICE has added all of the assignment information into the CTE for us to see. We have access to that, and we will have 1 assignment per variant of each weapon. That means you're going to get 4 new assignments for the Scout class that you will need to complete. First up, the Vetterli Rifle, the Infantry variant. You'll need to get 15 kills using the M91 Experimental against enemy soldiers who are playing as the Medic class, and then 20 Periscope spot assists. An interesting assignment, this one. It's similar to one of the assault weapons. For one of the 2 tasks, you need to be targeting medics specifically, and that's not to mention, it's with the 1903 Experimental. Don't worry though, these weapon unlock assignments, they're all tracked live in the game, and they will pop up next to the minimap when you make progress on each of them, and you don't have to do them in a specific order either. However, it does seem like DICE are trying to push people to use weapons that aren't that popular in Battlefield 1, but in my opinion, people are going to use the Experimental to do the assignment, and then never use it again. It's not a very popular weapon. DICE, just take it out of the game and put the 1903 Infantry in. You will make so many people happy, and you'll stop people complaining. Next, we had the Vetterli Carbine variant. You'll need to score 50 kills in total with the SMLE Carbine, and then get 5 kills with K-Bullets against the Scout class. Again, another requirement where you'll need to go after a certain class and using the K-Bullets that are usually reserved for vehicles. Not sure about that one. For the Mosin Nagant, starting with the Infantry variant, in 1 round, score 3 headshots with the SMLE Infantry, and then get 20 kills with the Mars Auto Pistol. That one's nice and easy to follow. And lastly, the Mosin Nagant Marksman. You'll need to get 50 kills with the Gewehr 98, and then 15 kills with the high explosive tripwire bombs. Those assignments aren't too difficult and they aren't too hard at the same time. My best advice for doing the assignment with the 1903 Experimental, try and use it at close range. It does, I think, 25 max damage at close range, which is a 4-shot kill on anybody. But don't try and shoot people from far away like it's a DMR. It's just not going to work and you're going to do some really low damage. But there you go, 2 brand new rifles for us to play with very soon when the Russian DLC drops for Battlefield 1. If you've got access to the CTE, get on there right now and try some of these weapons out. They are very different and interesting, and they're going to mix up the palette a little bit when it comes to the gunplay in the game. I'm looking forward to using the Vetterli more simply because it's so different, but the Nagant is a good addition too, if only for using it as a proper Russian scout with the Nagant revolver as well. Should be good fun, I think. Let me know what you think of these 2 weapons down below in the comments section, and I'll be down there reading as many as I can. But until next time, My name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.